Hey everybody, my name is Gene Marks. I'm president and owner of the Marks Group PC outside of Philadelphia, but I write every day for the Washington Post, and I write once a week for Forbes and Inc. magazine, Entrepreneur magazine, the Huffington Post. So I do a lot of writing on technology. I do a lot of stuff with CRM as well. In fact, my company sells CRM applications and we implement CRM applications. So I'm really excited to be here today in San Francisco in the offices of Insightly with the CEO of Insightly. This is Anthony Smith. Anthony has been started this company back in 2010.
That's correct, yes.
Which is kind of a late date to start a CRM company. We'll talk about that in a minute. So this is really a 30-minute conversation about CRM, guys. Where the industry is going, the future of CRM, what Insightly is doing, what someone like Anthony thinks about the business itself and the technology. And I have a bunch of questions for him. So thanks for joining us, and let's get started. Right. So Anthony, I gotta start this conversation out with a story. And the story is this, and this is a true story. So in my neighborhood, where I used to live outside of Philadelphia, where there's a Japanese restaurant that's near us. And my wife and I, we're not very social people. Every Friday night for like the past 20 years, we get takeout sushi and we eat it inside, and that's just what we do, okay? We are such good customers of this Japanese restaurant that every Christmas, they send us a fruit basket. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you're getting a fruit basket from your local Japanese restaurant or not, but anyway, they do. Anyway, these guys have a CRM system, right? These guys are, they don't use Insightly. They use I think they use Act, is what from back in the day.
Sure.
But, I call them up. They do have it tied into their phone system. I saw them do this. They know that it's me calling in. They see what my last order is. They're always like, hello, Mr. Mark, same order as last time. And
yeah.
I'm always like, same order, because I don't understand a word they're saying. They're very nice people, but the same order. And they're very good. I get Christmas cards from them. I get the gift basket. I get VIP. I'm on their VIP list. I get emails from them. So the question I have for you about all of this is a Japanese restaurant in a strip mall outside of Philadelphia using CRM. Do you think that, every business should be using a CRM system? Are there businesses do you think that's crazy that a Japanese restaurant?
No, that was actually one of the reasons that I founded Insightly, because when I looked at the customer relationship management landscape, I saw that there was some great CRM technology for the high end of the mid-market and for enterprise class companies, but it costs a lot of money. And there are a lot of small businesses here in the United States. Small businesses are the biggest employer in the United States. And we feel that everyone that has customers should have a customer relationship management system in order to provide value to those customers. So like the Japanese restaurant in your neighborhood, we feel that all the small businesses of the world should be using a CRM system to help them manage their customers and provide benefit to those customers. So that's why we founded Insightly, and we look specifically at the small business market and tried to make sure that we produce a tool that's going to benefit those customers. And they're quite a bit different from very large companies in their requirements and the type of software that they need.
So go ahead. So you say that they are in what way would you say the small customers are different than a large corporation?
Yeah. So if you look at a large corporation, they almost always have a sales team that sells their product or service into the market. But when you look at a small Japanese restaurant, the people that cook and serve the food are probably the people that sell the food. And it's a service-based industry. Sure. So they don't have a dedicated sales team, but we think that they still need a CRM. So Insightly, in building it for small business, more than 50% of the small businesses are service-based businesses. So we put a lot of time and effort into making sure that our product works really well for service-based businesses.
Got it.
So making sure that if you sell sushi, or if you're a cleaner, or if you're a plumber, that we have a really good solution for you. And for someone that doesn't sit in front of a computer all day, whether you're cooking or whether you're fixing taps or what have you, if you can use the CRM for like 10 to 15 minutes a day and still get a lot of value out of it, that's the type of CRM that we help produce.
So if you're going after a lot of small businesses, obviously there's an educational challenge that you have, So, how do you sell it to them? Like, how do you position a CRM system and tell them that this is something that will really benefit your business?
Yeah, so one of the things that we do that differentiates us a little bit from some of the other players in the market is we give the product away to very small businesses for free.
Good.
So they can have an understanding. We have a great customer success team that helps small businesses onboard and get the value from the CRM, but they can try it out and use it for an infinite period of time for free, try and get comfortable with the product and try and understand what a CRM is going to do for their business. And then after they have 3 or more employees, then they can start to pay us a small monthly fee to get additional value from the product. So you don't have to have a big commitment in terms of dollars or in terms of a large contract to get on board with CRM and to start using it in your business.
Right.
You can try it Insightly for free and see the value there straight away.
Do you think that, you started this company in 2010 at a time when, CRM system has been around for quite a while before that, but a lot of them were on-premise, sort of older architecture. So the cloud itself must have had a big impact on your decision and on Insightly. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was one of the reasons that I started the company. I had a previous software company that was Windows-based software,
right,
but I wanted to move to the cloud. So that's one of the reasons why I founded Insightly, specifically for small businesses. They don't have to keep servers on premises. They don't have to have a lot of integrations. They can just, as long as they have a browser, they can go to the website, log in, and get set up pretty quickly. So that means that the time to value for those small businesses is a lot quicker because they don't need to have a whole lot of technology to start using it. You can use it on your tablet or your phone or on a desktop PC with a browser.
Do you find a lot of businesses say to you that, like, well, we don't need a CRM system, and we track all of our stuff on a spreadsheet or whatever. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, and certainly if you're a very small business, obviously there's a need there that you are tracking with either your email inbox or a spreadsheet or Google Docs or another tool like Evernote. But our customers tell us that quickly that gets pretty unwieldy. Once you've got more than maybe a handful of customers, tracking them within a spreadsheet is probably not the right tool. And Insightly provides a lot more value on top of just tracking those customers. If you want to message those customers or if you want to be reminded about the significant dates or information of those customers, or indeed what their last order was, if they were a Japanese restaurant, Insightly can certainly help with that. So we see a lot of customers graduate from an Excel spreadsheet into our product, and we've got some great importers for getting that information into
Would you
CRM.
say that spreadsheets are probably your biggest competitor?
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Spreadsheets and the email inbox is another one. Some of our biggest competitors. Yes.
Yeah. It's funny when you talk about email as well. As some of the other resistance that I get with CRM is they'll be like, well, we use Outlook or we use Gmail, so what's the difference? I've got all my contacts in my email program and I've got my tasks and all of that. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, and your email inbox is specific to you. If you've got other employees in your organization, they don't get to see your email inbox. So that might be something that you start off with one person, but if your business is more successful and you employ others, the email inbox is not going to be a good solution.
Because you're on your own island the entire time.
Because you are on an island. And if you want to share some of the contacts that you have in your contact list in Gmail or in Outlook with others, then that's pretty hard to do, and a CRM is the best way to enable that.
Right. I always thought of CRM systems as they're just databases. No offense to you or Insightly, but CRM, people that make CRM systems are taking what's just a database and then adding a lot of features onto it that if I were to want to create that from scratch, it would cost me a lot of time and money to do. But in a sense, isn't that just what Insightly is? It's just a big cloud-based database that people are sharing information on?
I think maybe in the past CRM used to be just a database, Gene, but over the last couple of years CRM has become a lot more than that. So it certainly is a big database in terms of it's a data store, and you keep all of your information about your customers in there. So Insightly also handles tasks and opportunities and emails and phone calls. So what we can do is once we have that information within the CRM, we can do a lot more with that. So we can proactively surface new pieces of information or things that maybe you should be doing if you want to keep your customers happy, and let you know about that on a daily basis rather than just a data store. So we try to be a little bit more smart in terms of what we're doing with surfacing some of those insights or pieces of data that might help you be a better vendor to your customers.
Right, that makes sense. Where do you think, Another big sort of resistance that I get from people trying to implement a CRM is getting their people to use it. I mean, it's funny because we actually sell some accounting and ERP systems. Selling an ERP system is not as difficult because you got to get your invoices out the door. You got to receive cash, right? Business does go. CRM, it's like you always get that, sort of that resistance. Do you have any sort of tips, any help if I'm looking to implement and getting more people to use it? I've got a few I'll share with you, but I'm curious. Give me one thing that comes to your mind, like this would help your users use Insightly more, or whatever CRM system you use.
Yeah, it's a great one. So we've found that if you bring the CRM closer to the people, then they'll use it more. So one of our big insights when we launched was we put CRM right inside the email inbox because everyone uses email. So and that's a great source of correspondence between you and your customers.
So when you say email, Gmail?
Yeah, Gmail, or if you use Microsoft Outlook, we also have an add-in that sits right inside Microsoft Outlook as well.
Great.
And it allows you to save emails and to update the contacts right from within the email inbox. So there's no context switching between having to move to the CRM, save the data, move back to the email inbox. It's right within that same workflow when you're reading and checking your emails that allows you to get value from the CRM. And we find that a lot of customers love that.
Okay, so getting your CRM system, having it as close to your email as possible, that brings up a big learning curve because people are already in email, so it makes it easier for the user. Okay, so that was your turn, now my turn, and I'm going to come back to you for another idea. So you can start thinking. I've seen this actually work at like a handful of clients, right? Voicemail boxes. Every client, my story is, outside of Philadelphia, I have a client that sells deli meats for real, like pastrami and salami and bologna and all that. And they sell it to delicatessens and grocery stores and whatever. And literally their sales force are like old men in hats. They're like driving around in Chevys and cigars and whatever, but they're selling deli meats. So to get those guys to use a CRM system, even just to say like, listen, can you let us know who you visited, it was like pulling teeth. What they did is they set up a voicemail box, and they said, listen, when you're done dropping off the meats here and you make your next appointment or whatever, call up this number and just say, met with J&G Grocery, put an order in for this, and I'm going to be calling them back next week. And then they would have like a high school or a college kid calling in just a couple times a week, finding out listening to the voicemails and just keying it into this. It's a cloud-based system, so therefore it's easy to do. And that like significantly increased the data going into it, and that was like a big help to those guys doing it. So that was my idea. And I've got some more, but now it's your turn. What else can a company do to get their people to use their CRM systems more and better?
Well, we've heard similar things from some of our customers. So something that we released earlier this year was maybe the 2016 version of that, where Insightly is available for both tablets and for telephones as well, for smartphones. So within the Insightly app on your smartphone, after or maybe before or after you've delivered the deli meats, you can click a button and record into the CRM system straight away that same thing that maybe you would have left at the
You mean record by typing it in, or by
No, as in speak into the phone. We will record the note and we'll transcribe it into text automatically and then save it into the CRM against the contact record or the organization record that it's applicable to. So you might save a little bit of money in hiring some college students.
Like it.
And it's the similar workflow, whereas like after the salesperson has just left the premises, they can capture that correspondence or the pertinent points of the meeting straight away.
I love that. And I have a lot of clients that always ask me about voice recognition, into the CRM systems. And honestly enough, it's been like sort of slow in coming, but that's actually that's really good. Okay, my turn. So we've had this with a lot of clients when they're not using their CRM systems, we tell them to use reports. Right, because I know we're talking about whether or not a CRM is a database or not. I mean, it is in the end. I've just found like my best clients are they're getting like 3 or 4 good reports out of their system every day or every week. Maybe it's their pipeline report, maybe it's or whatever. And because they're very disciplined in getting reports, they're seeing the data that's being put in the system. They're highlighting if anything is wrong or out of date or whatever. And then they're beating up on the on the people saying, you got to make sure that you're doing this because I'm not getting the right reports. So reporting is also really good. So, okay, so that's good. So calling in and reports were my two things. Having your CRM integrated into your email system, that's really, really huge. And also using mobile, particularly with voice translation, and Sightly has that. That's really good stuff. I like that. That's really good. All right, so you guys have, how many customers does Sightly have?
We have over 1 million customers in over 160 countries around the world.
Okay, so that's a lot of customers that are using the application. Okay, so I'm sure you talk to a lot of your customers, you visit your customers, whatever. So just a few questions about your customers. Number one, what does your customers not use in Insightly that you think to yourself, like, I can't believe these guys, this is like the greatest feature and like hardly anybody is using it. What do you wish they would be using more?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we serve customers over a diverse number of industries, and some customers use some features and some customers use other features. So we try to make sure that we've got a feature set that's pretty applicable to a lot of different industries. One of the things that I would love customers to use more is we actually have a full project management system built right into Insightly.
Okay.
And some customers use that. Professional services customers use that a lot. But we find that when I speak to a lot of customers, they don't use that system. And
you're like, I spent all this money developing this feature, right? And you guys are not using it.
Yeah, and you ask them, and some of them are like, oh, I didn't really check it out, or I didn't really know what it did. So we produced a great series of videos on how that can be of value to your business. And every time I hear that, I just point them to the videos and they can go and have a look at how it works. But quite often, having the project management system built into the CRM is really advantageous because the customer can move from talking about the deal with the client to capturing and winning the deal and then moving into the execution phase all within the one app. And it's a pretty seamless transfer of information rather than having to export it out to another application.
I love that. That's really good. How long has that feature been around?
It's been around since the start.
Has it really?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to keep fighting that fight to get people to actually use it. Would you ever consider like just yanking a feature of a product if it's just the usage wasn't there? Or do you, as a software developer, you probably always keep it around, I guess, and support it, right?
We've done it in a couple of occasions. If we built a feature and we do a lot of testing with customers in the alpha and the beta phase, if customer feedback is that the feature is too complex or that the feature doesn't do what they thought it does, we'll either go back to the drawing board and re-architect the feature, or we'll kind of take the feature out of the product if we feel that it didn't meet the customer's needs. So we've done that in a couple of occasions, and we're not scared to do it, but quite often we do a lot of research into the features before we build them, and they tend to work out pretty well and customers love them.
What's the biggest myth that you think that a customer has about CRM? And I'll just, while you're thinking of that, like I'll tell you what mine is like whenever I meet like the guy who's like the sales manager who read about the CRM system in like an advertisement in the in-flight magazine, and they call me and say, oh, I want to increase my sales by 20%. I hear what you do is you just, when I see people doing this on the desk, I think to myself, like, this guy has no idea how much work it takes to really make a CRM system well, and sometimes people just don't have the culture to do that. Do you what is the biggest myth when you meet customers when they're disappointed? Not just with Insightly, just in general. Why do you think that is? Like,
yeah, and I guess to your point, that's the case with almost any software. No piece of software is magically going to transform your business without encouraging your employees to use it and getting a little bit of change management associated with that, so that you can bed it into the company. But when we talk to a lot of companies, there might be one or two employees that are very enthusiastic about CRM. They've used CRM at a prior business that they might have worked at. But there are maybe some other employees at the company that are like, we don't need a CRM. CRM is only for large businesses. We're a small business. And I think that's a bit of a fallacy as well. Every customer could use a CRM.
Like
and it
the
would
Japanese restaurant.
It would be beneficial to their business. So that's one of the things that we see reasonably often. And we have a pretty good story for articulating the value proposition there of why they could be much more useful with a CRM system.
Next question for you is when people fail with their CRM implementations. Now my company has about 600 active clients.
Wow.
which is great. And we have had many successful implementations. And Anthony, we have had some tear-stricken, profanity-laden failures with some companies as well. And I've always looked at the people that have like succeeded with their CRM systems and what sets them apart. I want to ask you, so you can think about like when you look at your most successful customers, what do they have that has succeeded? And so let me ask you that before I even offer my thoughts, because I don't want to step on your toes here. When you think of your most successful customers, what do they have in common? Like, why have they really done well with Insightly?
Yeah, we see that quite often, Gene, is that quite often we're not the very first CRM that they've tried. They might have had one in the past. It had low adoption, which is the primary reason that it didn't work out.
Right.
And then they're a little bit trepidatious about trying a new CRM. And then you dig a little bit deeper and you ask some of those questions of why do you think the adoption rate wasn't as high as you wanted with employees? And quite often those employees found it very hard to use. They found that it was unwieldy and that they didn't get a lot of value from it. Their manager might have got some value from it when he ran the reports, but there was a lot of burden in putting information into the CRM and they didn't feel like it gave a lot back.
Right.
So when we designed Insightly, we made sure that especially for small businesses, Insightly was really, really easy to use and to understand without needing to sit through 8 hours of training, and that it really integrated well with some of the other products that you use in your daily life, like your email system, or whether you used, Google Docs, or whether you use Drive, or whether you use some of the Microsoft tooling. We make sure that we integrate with a lot of those products that customers already use, and having it inside of the email client also helps. So we get a lot better story in terms of customer adoption because of the ease of use and because of the fact that you don't need a PhD to use it.
I like it. I want to get back to integrations in a minute, but I do want to ask you: is there a mindset or a culture at a customer? Like sometimes. So Anthony, I'm thinking back to like one of our biggest.
One of your war stories.
It was the worst, and this was a company. Now first of all, I don't want to say bigger than Insightly implementation, because Insightly can support.
We have some very large customers.
50, 100, hundreds of users. So I get that. So this one was with another product, not to be not named, but not a bad product. I'll never forget. They brought us in. They spent like 6 figures on this thing, and it was the CRM implementation. And we went in and we did the training, and they had their big thing is they wanted the salespeople to send in their call reports, like with their activities from all over the world into one place. They're going to use a CRM system to do this. We go in there, we train everybody, we customize it all. Everybody's hugging and kissing and high-fiving each other. This is great. We're going to whatever. And then everybody goes back to where they, their home countries and whatever. And they keep sending in their sales reports the way they were doing them before, like literally on the back of baseball cards. And the VP of sales just let them do it. I mean, they would come up, oh, the screen didn't look as like I was expecting it to, or I had a connection issue or whatever. I find sometimes that you have to have the right attitude and culture to succeed with CRM. Do you find that as well? Do you think it's for everybody? Do you know what I mean?
We do. But yeah, I agree with you. Certainly in large implementations where this can be magnified significantly is you have to have champions within the business that know the product really well and that are encouraging of other users and employees to use it. So quite often when at some of the larger businesses that we onboard, there are 1 or 2 champions that we work with, and we have a great customer success team that reaches out and does training for all the employees if they feel that they need it. And that decision coming from the top to say this is one of the products that we're going to use, we think it provides a lot of value to the business, and we would like it if you could adopt it, is certainly something that we've seen success in.
Good. Yeah, I've seen the same thing. Okay, so yeah, third-party products, because you had made mention of them before in integrations and such. So what do you see, again, let's get back to small companies now using Insightly. They get Insightly, they're up and running with it, they're doing their thing. What do you find to be some of the more popular third-party applications, that they'll next go to, that they're interested in? What have you seen?
We have an excellent integration with MailChimp, which is an email sending tool for sending out newsletters. It's very popular. They also have a free product similar to us. So that's probably our biggest integration. We have a lot of customers that also use Evernote, which is a note-taking application. We've got a great integration with that. And on the accounting side of things, we integrate with Intuit QuickBooks and with Xero Accounting, both cloud-based accounting packages. And they provide a lot of value because they allow you to surface some of the economic and accounting data from the client right inside the CRM. So you can see if they pay their bills on time or if they're a little bit behind, and how much money is that customer worth to you. You can see that right against the contact data in the CRM.
That's awesome. Okay, so accounting is definitely big. Biggest sounds like is like email integration, like with MailChimp, and Evernote is good. Next question I have for you. So does Insightly have a partner channel, like implementers that would actually because I've spoken to people that use particularly small companies. Small companies don't have a big budget, so it's not like they can pay. I mean, like we charge like $175 an hour. It's not cheap. Yeah, I know, right? Believe me, we had like tutors that we paid that much for our kids, so don't even. But okay, so fair enough. So some small businesses aren't going to pay for that. But then again, there is an argument to say to get the best value out of it.
That is true.
So how do you respond to that? Do you have a partner channel? Do you have consultants that work with you guys? How does that work?
Yeah, so we have some informal alliances with some consultants and partners that we work with now, but we've heard from our customers that some of those customers would really like an implementation partner that actually sits with them on site, on premises, and kind of holds their hand and implements the software with them. So that's going to be one of our big focuses next year. We're hiring pretty actively in that space right now and building out the team, and that's something that we're going to launch pretty early next year. So
interesting that you say that. So, but you have gone for a while not having that team in place, but it kind of seems like as you're growing, you're kind of moving up the food chain, that you see that those partners are kind of important, I guess, to your business.
When we're starting to attract quite a few larger businesses than very small businesses right now, and some of those really would like an implementation partner or a consultant to come in and help with the CRM. So we're pretty cognizant and aware of that, and we're making sure that we can service those customers correctly.
Awesome. Okay. So I know we only have a couple minutes left. So looking towards the future, right, Anthony? So we're here. It's 2016. You've come a long way in the past 4 years. I mean, a long way. So, first of all, short term, over the next year or two, what are some of the plans for you? Okay, as far as Insightly is concerned, and then longer term, where do you think CRM is going? Will small businesses still be buying CRM applications 10 years from now, or do you view them as being in a different place? Yeah,
so we've made a lot of investment on the tablet side and the mobile side of things over the past couple of years, and we're going to continue to invest a lot in there. We see a lot of momentum with specifically small business customers, and like you illustrated a little bit earlier, some customers that might be on the road for the majority of their day, utilizing those two platforms and being able to get value when they're out there, and capturing the information once you step out of a meeting or just before you enter a meeting to try and learn a little bit about some of the people that you're meeting with is pretty valuable to our customers. So we're making a lot more investments in those two platforms over the coming years. And some of the other things that we're very interested in exploring and that we're starting some preliminary development on right now is getting a little bit more value out of the relationships that you have. So you might have a few more people in your organization, and they might know people that you don't necessarily know that they know. But surfacing some of that information inside of the CRM, the relationship strength, and being able to determine, if I want to reach out to this client, Joe actually knows someone at that business a lot better than I do. So I'm going to go over and speak to Joe about getting an introduction. Some of those types of things where we provide a lot more value to the customer from that database of information is something that we're working on now.
That's great. And before I wrap up, I just you talk about like reaching out, different people doing different things. Do you see in the future either Insightly or CRM in general focusing on any specific industries or any, when I speak to specific people, say like, oh, do you have a CRM system because I'm in distribution or I'm in manufacturing? And I'm always like, hey man, do you sell to people? Yeah, okay. Well then that really doesn't make a difference I don't know if I'm wrong about that. Do you think that Insightly itself or you yourself would think that you would be pointing your company more to focus on a specific vertical, or do you think CRM itself will evolve to that point like a lot of ERPs have? Yeah,
so we're a pretty horizontal player. Sometimes we come up against vertical specific CRMs in some of the industries that we focus on, but we've quite often found that because we've got a very large client base and we build features for the majority of our clients, they're applicable to almost everyone in terms of what they're trying to do with a CRM. And that certainly helps us. Like we have a lot of customers that come to us with a lot of ideas of what they would like to see. And it gives us a lot of inspiration as to what we're going to build going forward. So we certainly make sure that when we build features that they are applicable for a wide audience, and we find that that's the best way to build a CRM for the long term.
Awesome. Okay, so if you weren't running a software company, what would you be doing with your life?
Oh, I have a 3-year-old daughter, so
Sleeping.
I would probably be spending a little bit more time with her because she certainly seems to be growing up very fast.
Fair enough. Anthony, thanks. I really appreciate you spending the time. Everybody, thanks for joining us on this Facebook Live broadcast. I hope you learned a little bit more, not only about Insightly, but about CRM and where the industry is going. So thanks for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Gene. Thank you.